Oi family, happy new year and welcome to another episode of Let's Catch Up with Sherani. I'm here today with my friends, my new friend Mr. Kurt Harris and my longtime friend and buddy Miss Melissa Irvin. Guys, say hi to our family.
Oi, family.
Oi, family.
All right, so family, we are back. We had a wonderful year last year. So this year we're talking about some important things. My friends and I today we're going to be speaking about why so many women are single. Kurt, we have a problem. We have a problem, Kurt. A lot of women are single. And so I wanted to ensure that when we had this discussion, I had one of my guy friends here so we can get to the bottom of this epidemic. So Melissa, Kurt, so I want to start off by saying that life has changed and a lot of women want to be single. What do you guys say to that?
The first question you have to ask is why would a woman want to be single? And maybe most of them want to be single because they just can't find that partner that they want.
That's a
So,
possibility.
It's the easy way out to say, I just want to be single.
You think so, Melissa?
I don't know if it's the easy way out or the better thing for the person individually. So rather than settling for someone for the sake of having a partner, you wait until you find someone worth the work that comes with having a partner.
And as Melissa is speaking about the weight cut, I wanted to say that from what I've been hearing, not what I said because you will not come for me, from what I've been hearing, a lot of women feel like it's lost its value, you know, having a man in your life and really trying to assess what a man really brings to the table.
But that argument goes both ways.
Okay,
Because
let's
a
hear
lot
it.
of men are saying similar. So then you're now speaking about an issue that is beyond the gender and really an issue of people. And what we are seeing there is that there is an epidemic of flawed people.
I agree.
So
I agree.
if you have
yes.
a lot of flawed people, then people may just find it difficult to want to be with somebody because a lot of times what you find happening, especially with women, is that women claim or stick to a type.
Okay.
Isn't that just women?
Yeah, because what you'll find if a man, for example, is that, and maybe that's why men are just a little bit more successful in being in a relationship, is that if I date you and we have a bad relationship, I will not look for a woman like you, I look for a woman like her.
Is
A
that
woman
true?
tends to go and says, that's the type of guy I like. I would just take a shorter version, taller version, darker version, lighter version of that same guy.
Really?
So then you
think
find
so?
out that a lot of women come out of bad relationships and the bad men that they left end up staying with a good woman for a long period of time, and the good woman who left the bad man is single and always says, I can't find a man.
Well, let me say this to us, to our family. When it pertains to women, and I'm speaking from my experiences, it's not hard to find a man, Kurt. Melissa, it's not hard to find a man. Man checking me every day. But it's hard to find a quality man. A man who is going to be your friend. A man who's going to make you laugh. A man who is going to say, oh, baby, you broke? Here you go. And I'm going to say, honey, you broke? Here you go. A man who is going to have my back when it's necessary. But that is hard to find. The men, and I think because now dating has become a buffet. Before dating was a la carte dining. There was no WhatsApp, there was no this and that. The internet was not as prominent. So people would have their relationships and they would stay in it. They would work out issues. But in my humble opinion, Kurt and Melissa, nowadays, when you're upset with me, Kurt, you're dating a nice woman like me. You're upset with me. But you don't have time to work it out because that's just one meal. There's a whole buffet for you to choose from. So you just scrap that plate. And you move over to that plate because it's there. It's so available. And so I find like society is breaking down. People don't want to work anything out. It's just like, okay, let me just move on.
I think
Melissa?
part of it is it's part of a bigger generational shift as well, where we and I speak as a
A single female?
No, as a slightly younger person than my other distinguished members of this panel here. No longer.
Excuse me, Melissa. You also Melissa don't have no manners. Melissa assume that Kurt and I are older than her, but Melissa will take you. Go ahead. I'm just kidding.
Am I not correct in this?
Yes, you are correct.
No, I feel like there's been a generational shift in no longer accepting bad treatment. And part of that is, no longer needing to be in a relationship. Whereas before, you might have relied on your relationship for security. Particularly as a woman, you may not have had access to the kind of income that you needed, or the kind of, social space, the kind of thing where you previously relied on a man to be able to do.
True.
If you can now do those things yourself, why are you going to sit there and stand for poor treatment when you can just move out of that space? And that goes for kind of parent-children relationships as well. So I think there's just been a general societal shift to, not accepting certain things and holding out for the right sort of situation.
I would tend to proffer that a little bit of difference from what you ladies have been saying. Let's look at the situation about this generational shift. First and foremost, the buffet has always been there. It has always been there. The difference is that people are less willing to share. Our grandparents shared, because when you had a father who lived in Dennery and worked in Castries, there were a lot of times when you would hear the stories all the time. He comes and meets his wife pregnant, and he didn't go there, but he left 2 people pregnant in Castries. So he comes and he takes his child. There was a lot more sharing, and people were like, you know what? Right now we have a problem because we've gotten a lot more selfish. So it's not that there's a buffet as opposed to a la carte. It has always been a buffet. The difference is that nobody wants to share. So that becomes a major problem.
Kurt.
But hold on. Before you go on, I just want to answer something that she said.
Yes.
About this whole, I don't need a man, I have my income, I can come, blah, blah, blah. Every single woman who claims to be single has a group of man friends who does a whole heap of things without sex. So they come and they fix the pipe, they come and help her fix the car. They have the man without the sex. So the problem is that, are you single, or are you now utilizing a different means of getting that same man that you claim you don't want? Because every single woman has a bunch of man friends. By my partners, I just like being with men. Because guess what? The main things you need, you get it without the sex. So is the problem really that older women are less willing to allow men to enjoy them sexually, because they think from the time they turn 32 they get old, and then when the guys now are in their 40s, they're like, I ain't wasting my time on no woman who has been passed through the door. I'll go behind a young 20-year-old who more free up and lower cost of maintenance as well.
Okay, so Kurt, I was going to address Melissa, but I have to address you. So you're absolutely right. People sharing a long time. I grew up with my grandparents, and I found out in my teen years that my grandfather had a daughter outside the family. Mm-hmm. I was shocked. My grandfather was my hero, and still is. May he rest in peace. I was shocked because I've never once heard my grandparents argue. They lived lovingly. Anybody who knows me know when I speak about them, I speak about how well my grandmother treated my grandfather like he was king. She everything about her, she groomed us into marriage. Oh, make sure you iron your husband's clothes. Make sure you cook good food for your husband. She was all about her husband. So when I found out that this man was eating a salad in the other area, I was really annoyed. So lie. People have been sharing for a long time. Here's the problem that women have from my interaction with my female friends. Let me know I'm sharing. Do not pretend that we have exclusivity and you know that we don't. And that's the problem women are having. Be upfront. A lot of men feel like they have to lie to us. Baby, I love you. It's just me and you, this and that. And then so once you've sold me that, that's what I'm thinking. It's me and Kirk. That's my honey bunny sugar plum pumpkin pie. And then when you look, excuse me, Vanessa and Trina calling you and saying, if you don't leave my man, and you're like, I'm sorry, who? What? You know, let me know what I'm dealing with. You all feel like women can't handle it, but we want to know. But you know why you all not telling us? And Melissa, I'm going to tell you why Kurt not telling me that he have Vanessa on the side. He's not going to tell me because women today are not like yesterday's women. If you tell me this is how it's going to be, and you're going to have Vanessa, well, I'm going to have Shane. That is the mindset of a lot of women today. And I feel like that is why you all don't want to tell us. We don't mind sharing.
But what you have described there is a people problem and not a female or male specific problem. Because similarly, if I tell you the truth, the fact is I want to be with you and her, and you're not going to want to tolerate that.
But let me
So-
choose.
It depends on the person.
No,
Let me decide. You don't know that.
Let's be fair, and similarly with the men, most men can't tolerate exactly what you said there, that you are with Shane and David. So the fact is that a lot of people want to be, and I think it's more natural than people want to admit. People want to have more partners, but the reality is that it's not a male-female thing. But we've been taught to be selfish. We have this ownership concept. My wife, my jabal, my woman on the side. So you find that guys are dating my wife behind my back, so that's my wife is their jabal, and they vex when my wife goes out with me. And they're like, well, how are you going out with your husband? And they get all upset. And similarly with women, because we've been taught a lot of ownership. So that's the first problem that we have to divest ourselves of, this concept of ownership, where we believe that we own people. And that is one of the bigger problems, and that's why women tend to have a lot of issues as it relates to their relationships with men. Women also have the tendency to emasculate men. And you heard what you spoke about your grandmother. Your grandmother made your grandfather feel like a man.
A king.
Exactly.
He was
But
king at home, yeah.
now at home, women want to talk down to their husbands and boyfriends because they make $1 more than you. They want to tell you what to do, when to do, and a man is like, I don't have to take this crap. And the only reason relationships last, really, if you look about it, relationships last if you have a patient man.
Relationship lasts also if both people are not upfront with each other, or somebody just say, you know something, I don't care. That is how a lot of relationships last, I know. I wanted to just address something you said about, something you said earlier I wanted to address. With women, I was saying that we want the truth. Tell us the truth. Give us the opportunity to choose. Because even us as single women, I'm a single woman, completely single. One, when we tell a man we're single, they're like, you're lying. They don't believe that you're single. When I say I'm single, people be like, okay, well, what's wrong with you? How come you're not in a relationship? How come you're single? I am single because I don't play around. I'm a single woman. When I find someone that stimulates my intellect and I feel like I'm physically attracted or attracted in whatever way, I will be with that person. But unless I'm single, and men don't believe that. And another problem that I have as a single woman, I may like a guy and I'm talking to him, we have a couple of conversations, and a married woman is fighting me for him. She's married. But she's still swimming in my pool of the few single men that are available.
There we go, the ownership again, my pool.
It's not that. Society.
The pool, it's not my pool. We don't own the pool, it's a pool of men. But you see the ownership problems we spoke about, my pool. So you see where we're starting. And that's what I'm hoping to correct.
She's in the single pool. In the single pool. Sorry, go ahead, Melissa.
The fact is that generally nowadays, the general accepted form of relationship is a monogamous relationship. So it's fine if you want to not do that, but that involves a conversation between everybody involved. Otherwise, you would kind of assume monogamy because of the way that society is set up. So if you're speaking to somebody and they're speaking to you, you kind of feel like once you've had the conversation, yeah, that's the thing. That's the assumption here. If you don't want to do that, fine. Have the conversation about a polyamorous relationship if you feel like it. But until that point, it's not necessarily an ownership thing, but a thing of, not splitting your attention, not splitting your time. And if you want to split your time and you can do that successfully and make all of your partners feel happy and joyful, good, as long as that's a conversation with them and that's been established ahead of time.
Now, Kurt, you spoke about women emasculating men. a lot of women do that, especially women who are educated, who make a lot of money and so forth. I think that women feel like men generally have failed them. You know, people like me, I'm in my 40s, my grandmother told me that, you know, or no, she didn't tell me, but how I saw it, the setup in the house, the men were supposed to go out and work, bring the money back, the women would be the homemakers, we take care of our husbands, the house, the children, and so on and so, you know, and then over the last 40 years, that has changed. A lot of the men, even in university, a lot of men are not in school. A lot of men, they are not working. They're just wasting time, and then you now have to struggle and hustle. And women are frustrated because listen to how it is in the house, Kurt. So me and you making money. Okay, so I'm making more than you, but that's okay. So I go to work from 8 in the morning to 5 or 6 in the evening. You're doing the same shift. When I come home, you sit down, you throw back. That's if you come home on time, because you might have to stop by the cab away and have a little drink with your friends. I have to come straight home. On my way home, pick up the children from school, help them with the homework, organize dinner, and perhaps iron for the next day. And then in the night, you come and you want to hit me on my little bum and tell me, I'm tired. I'm exhausted.
Let's deal with that.
Oh boy.
Let's deal with that, because there's a reason why this happens. Okay? So we look at how our society has been set up and designed. So the times that you speak about, first and foremost, women have to accept that you cannot expect that things don't change in one space. So similarly, as more women went into the workforce and you found that the system ended up giving more women a lot more support, what you find happening now is that a lot more women are being employed and men are struggling to get work. The system is encouraging a lot more women to work, and it gets worse. So this independent woman comes up, I don't need a man. Here comes the rise of single parenting. And then this man that you spoke about, the reason why he's like that is because before you, he was his mother's man. So she have him in the house like he's a big man, and he thinks that he's his mother man. And what does his mother do for him?
Everything.
Cook for him, clean for him, wash for him, cook for him, do everything for him. So when you become his woman, all he sees is his mother. So he's like, but what's wrong with that woman? My first woman used to do all of that for me. So who's the problem? The man? No. Who created that man? A woman. A woman is developing bad men for future women. And then that woman has a child, you have a child, you end up being a single woman, but you raise him the same way. So then the next woman to come has that same problem because women are raising poor men.
So men can't distinguish between their partners and their parents? In terms of how you treat people, behave.
That's why most of those men, and you listen to them speak, when you ask them, who's your queen? My mother, but they married. How could your mother be your queen and you married? Your wife becomes your queen.
Absolutely.
Your mother is queen mother, and everybody knows that your wife becomes the primary thing. But they have been taught, love your mother first. So they love their mothers because that's their first woman. And their mother teaches them, don't mind them other women. And she is poisoning his head about all the bad things that women do. So he grows up suspicious of women, badly trained by a woman to dislike women and to womanize. And then women complain, is men that bad? No, women are the problem. So women need to talk to women to stop raising bad men. But they also need to recognize that they need to, and that's another part of the problem. We break up with a child, right? How many single fathers have you ever heard telling their children, your mother is a this and a that and all sorts of nasty words? Very rarely. Most single women, your father is a dog. There's no money for you. Your father this. And no matter how hard the father tries, mothers use their children as weapons against their fathers. And a lot of fathers have been trying out there to have that kind of interaction, to be fathers to their children. But mothers are preventing them because they vex that I left you for her. But then you see that my children with her are being raised properly. The same worthless man is raised in a proper family. It's not, a lot of the time, it's not the men that are the issues. It is women who have created the issues. Because again, this whole concept, so I can't get a man, So my son becomes my man, and then I hold on to my son, and you see them interfering in your relationship all the time. Come and do that for mommy. Oh, I have to go by my mother. Most of those bad men are always mama's boys. They always have to run back to mommy. So who you competing with first? And I don't like that girl for you, I prefer that one over there. And the mother will let him come in her house to sleep with his side girl. And that's how the cookie crumbles. So who's the problem? Men? We only do what we were taught by women most of the time.
Okay, so let me address, Melissa, you wanted to say something, go on.
Well, if you're saying that men only do what they're taught, that's a cycle that's continuing. Are women also not doing the same thing? Because it sounds like
Yes.
you're putting a lot of the burden on women
Yes.
to change their behavior over time, when men can also do that and
No,
recognize the poor patterns.
You
and work
100%
against
correct.
them.
Women are doing what they are taught. Be independent. Hate men. Do everything for yourself. You don't need a man in the house. You're making more money than them. They would. That's what you've been taught. That men are good for nothing, and that's what women are doing.
Now, I have to say, Melissa is not yet. Melissa is in her 20s, so Melissa doesn't have a child as yet. I am a mother of a 20-year-old man, a young man. Mm-hmm. I have never once, and my son is shy, so I know he won't want to come on camera and vouch for me. I have never once told my son anything negative. In fact, I've spoken out on behalf of his future partner or wife. I've said, listen, do not mess up anybody's daughter. You don't want to people children, leave them alone. You don't want to be with the girl, leave her alone. I've taught him to cook, to wash, to iron, to clean. I said, if your wife is tired, you must be able to help her. I've sent him to good schools because I said, even if your wife has enough money to buy herself a purse, make sure one day when she come home, you just have a purse there with a ribbon on it. These are the things I've told my son. My son is not my husband. And I always tell my son, if I'm with Tom, Dick, or Harry and we break up, it has nothing to do with him. If he see them on the road, he could be best friend. He could say, hi, how are you morning? I have not raised my son like that. So not all women do that. Mature women, we don't do that.
But that's
you
the
understand?
exception.
Life happens. Things happen.
You're the exception.
But the reason why women, I think, because I've had a husband who I felt like his mom interfered a lot. And I think that if that was not the case, we could have been together, because I adored him and I thought I treated him with respect and loved him and did what I'm supposed to do as I was groomed to do. And that didn't work. So when a nice woman like me see, well, I'm in the house with a man, I wash, I cook, and I clean everything, and you still leave. I've given you my 100%. What else is there for me to offer? So then I'm thinking, all right, do I really need to be in a committed marriage with a man, wash, cook, iron, clean, tie down myself, look after the children, and then he's still out there cheating, or he's going to walk away? Or do I just need the sausage?
So the question is, to answer that, why do you want a partner, and what are people marrying for? Because the first problem that people have in a marriage and a committed relationship is that they do it for love.
That's the problem?
Yeah, because love is a choice. You choose to love today, you choose not to love tomorrow. It's a choice. Love is nothing that can be measured. Love is a direct choice. Something can be hot or it can be cold.
Allow me to interject, Kurt. This is what I always say. In order to stay in a healthy relationship, I feel like every day when you wake up, you have to recommit yourself to that person.
Because you have to make that choice every day.
Because you have to make that choice every day.
So love is a choice.
I wouldn't say that's a choice of love. That's a choice of commitment.
No,
whether you love the person or not.
So what is love? Love is that choosing to do certain actions.
That's you
love.
choose to do certain actions because you love.
No, you are loving because of your actions. Because when you do not do those actions, you ain't loving.
I don't know.
Love is a choice.
There's different ways to show love.
Love is
that you can directly control.
But that is, you are
them.
directly controlling, because guess what? I'm sure that man that you had that child with, that you are married to, that you're all in love with, you ain't loving him today. If love was not a choice, you would stay loving him from
anybody I've ever loved, I still love.
You understand?
I'm not in love. But so that's different.
So now
the in love is the emotion, the I want to be with you, you're the one I desire. That's.
But let's be. We have friends that we love.
Yes, we do.
We have partners that we love. Love is still the choice, because what you are describing there is that you have moved him from my sexual love to my I love you as a human being love. So
Yeah.
being pleasant, hi, hello, and not being absolutely nasty is still a choice. It's a choice that you have made.
I don't
It's
agree
not.
with
It's
that.
nothing that is fixed.
I don't agree with that 100%.
If you boil
Because it's
water
like an
at 100
emotion.
degrees, you don't have to scream, but your skin will show you that it was hot. No matter what you do, that 100-degree water will have that impact.
But
Love doesn't do
you
that.
can't
You choose it.
personify that. That's not the same thing. Because with the love, it's a feeling. Sometimes you don't want to love somebody, they don't break up, they don't leave you and gone. But the love, though, you don't just say, okay, well, I've chosen not to love him. It doesn't work
You
like
can't
that.
switch that off.
You can't
You
switch
can,
love off.
because
It wears
subconsciously,
off.
what a lot of, and that's why women have this. And I tell you, when you tell you you'll go me and the same type of man, because I can't switch that off. That's the kind of man I like. You understand where the problem lies? That women are not recognizing this honest conversation. That at the end of the day, it's choice. So, for example, there are certain women that will never go for a guy who looks like me.
Why? What's wrong with you?
They friend zone me. We could be best of friends, but they'll never go with a man like me simply because I don't fit into their type. And most women have a type. That's why you see they come. The type of man they want, and they have a long list of rubbish. But half of it, they themselves
said
cannot
of rubbish.
But they can't fulfill it. Most women don't recognize that a lot of men, a lot of people, and not just men, because you have the same problem on the other side. It's a work in progress.
Yes.
So you go into a relationship because you meet somebody who you say, okay, we have similar goals of where we want to be ultimately. And that person also gives me that good vibe. We can communicate. You understand? We match sexually. We match in terms of spirituality or religion or whatever it is that you may want to go into. We match when it comes in terms of partying. We match in terms of where we want to go with money. So you have to look at indicators. And the first thing that you need to look for if you want a long-lasting relationship is economics. This is the most important
I agree
priority.
with that 100%.
Your economic
you
matching.
You must have a plan, yes.
But the problem with people is that they go there for this abstract nonsense called love. That really and truly is a bag of rubbish. Because at the end of the day, when you're broke, you are no love. And all women know that if I make $5,000 a month and I get sex once a week, if I bring in 50 grand that month, I will get sex every day of the week until that 50 grand finish, and it goes back to once a week.
What type of women are you? Is that person?
I would ask
women.
the same question
All women
because
is
we're
not-
talking
All
No.
women
No.
get excited if a man bring in more money. That's economics, because economics drives activity.
I don't think so.
That's
I think
why
the
economics is the
majority.
sense of
I think-
everything.
okay, maybe it's the majority of women.
I'm
because-
telling you.
I would say though,
Because I hear
I'm
men say
hearing
it
a
a lot.
lot about
On this show, I want you to give us feedback. How many people agree that women get excited?
Put your notes in the comment section.
in the comments. I
Remember
would
to
say-
like and subscribe, Melissa.
I would say I'm hearing a lot about women having types here, but men have types as well. This is not a gender specific thing. So again, why are we focusing on women having types as being
Because
the
there
source
are
of certain
men and
problems?
there
Hold on,
are
let me
boys.
finish. Let me. You
And
can
there are
say this,
women
there
and
are
there are
women and there are
girls.
girls. So if a man is consistently going for the type of woman who gets excited by money, and that man does not have money and then complains that the relationship is not going the way he wants, that's on the man for continually going for that type. So the same thing can be reversed. We're talking a lot
Amen.
about generalities when we have individual humans here and individual behavior patterns influenced by individual upbringings.
We agree to that. And everything there is a level of generalization that would take place. But I go back to the topic, why are women in their 40s single and more women are single?
But there's more women than men, first off. So
I don't think so.
So there are three reasons why you find that there's a shortage of men. And we're going to be honest about it, right? One, you have a lot of men who are right now incarcerated. And a lot of men are dying either through violence or in wars.
Absolutely.
There are a lot more men in the armies and
Yes.
those other things, and a lot more men involved in violent crime. So those men are reducing the amount of men available for women who really want to have these positive types of relationships. Because, I mean, these men get sex, but they're not necessarily the type of men that a woman would want to. It's something that people don't want to a topic that people don't really want to talk. But now, you notice there are a large section of our black population who are now homosexual. So straight women now have a problem that you have a large portion of black men who are now homosexual. So you have two groups of men who are essentially out of the equation for women who are straight, which leaves married men or men in a relationship, which comes back to my original point, the Lord said to share.
I'm not sure that's how the Lord intended it.
Listen, not tell a lie upon God. But I want to say, on point one, where you said that there's more women than men, I think that a lot of us tend to shop only in our immediate surroundings. I heard a couple of years back that there were so many single men in China that some of them were committing suicide because
Really?
they couldn't get a wife.
You, as a black woman, would go to China and look for a partner.
I'm just saying, if we're just gonna level it out and say man and woman, there's a lot of men all over the world who don't have wives and who want wives. But black women want, just saying, some women will say, oh, I only want a man in my own race or from St. Lucia or from my country and you know, things like that. So I know that there's a lot of men single worldwide as well. I agree with you that a lot of men are incarcerated, and that goes back to women and how we're raising our boys. Right? A lot of the problems that we do have with men, I agree that it's the moms causing these problems. And you said the last one. What was your last point?
No, you are the large growing group of homosexuals.
The homosexual men.
Yeah.
A lot of the men who are homosexual, they're not upfront about it. They're what you call undercover, and some of them go both ways. They go with men and women. So
but it doesn't lead you to a long-lasting relationship.
It doesn't. I agree with you.
What
with
you
that.
spoke
I
about,
heard about
not knowing
some of that. Yeah.
Becomes a problem. And so it leaves the few guys.
The married men and the guys who are in relationships. But the thing is with the married men, you have to act married. You have to be married. You understand? When a married woman will come and say, oh, well, you're this and that because you're messing with my husband. Like, your husband has not been abducted. This is free will, right? So if you're in a marriage like you are to conduct yourself like a married man. If you've decided that you're in a closed marriage. The guys in relationships, just before you walked in, we were discussing, if you are not married, are you fair game? Are you single? You either married or single. What do you think about that?
Oh, well, that's a question for women to define for themselves. Because
if I'm not married, I'm single.
If you're not married and you're not single, but you may be tending towards. So if a man is tending towards marriage, is it fair game as another woman to insert yourself into that? Because until you are not married, you always have the opportunity that somebody else will come and poach. So that's a question that women need to ask themselves and answer for themselves. For me, I totally agree that whether you're in a relationship or you're married, if somebody else is coming around, I always believe full disclosure is the best.
Yes.
I have a person. If you want, we can have fun, but I have a person. Let the person decide what they want to do. I 100% agree with that. But that definition is something that women would have to define for themselves if a man who's not married is fair game.
Yeah. Okay.
And I don't think it would end well for them if they say he is.
Exactly.
Again,
Melissa, do you have any last points that you want to make?
Well, I feel that comes down again to an individual decision or a decision
Absolutely.
within the relationship, whether that's an unmarried relationship or a married one. Because you can say, okay, well, somebody who is unmarried, so single, but in a relationship is fair game. Why does that change when you get married? Why should that change when you get married? Again, unless you have the conversation and say, okay, well, now we're married in the eyes of the legal system, in the eyes of the church. If you get married in the church, does that suddenly mean that nobody's fair game? Does that suddenly mean that, somebody comes along and you automatically turn away in a way that you wouldn't have turned away if you're in a relationship? So I don't think any of these things can be defined by the bounds of the labels that we put on them. These are individual conversations that you need to have with your partner, with yourself, about what you want in a partner.
Absolutely.
Decide that and then move from there, rather than saying, oh, women will want this and men will want this, so I will act accordingly. You have to see what you want, what your partner wants.
Absolutely.
And then go from there.
All right. So, Melissa, thank you. Kurt, thank you. Boy, Kurt, you hit us hard today. I'm not lying. You hit us hard. But I want to say that I think we've all come to an agreement that where it pertains to why so many women are single is that there need to be open communication with couples. It's not a blanket solution. It's just the individuals have to communicate as to what the expectation is. I think it boils down to that, and I think there are some other factors that we discuss. More men who are dating men, more men incarcerated, the way society is now, the WhatsApp, the internet.
And better mothering of boys.
And better, that's an excellent point as well. The way we are raising our sons, we need to raise our sons to be,
better men,
better husbands, better people. All right, so family, leave your comments in the comment section. Remember to like, to share, and to subscribe. Thank you for joining us on another episode of Let's Catch Up with Sherani. We'll see you again soon. Goodbye.
Bye.